Can you hear me this time?
Got any boys?
You don't hear me?
No, I am not hearing you. Are you on the new computer?
Your microphone is not working
Oh,
or is
guess
hard.
what? We're live. Yeah, it must be a setting on your new computer there. Good morning, everybody. This is Paul Romero with the House Wholesale Real Estate Training number Chigumbo, 63,
Hello?
if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, wrong. 64. Um, we were going over what I was throwing out here as a excuse me. Yeah, lovely. Good morning. Hi. Sorry about that.
No voice,
Where are
huh?
we are at Monday,
Oh.
December 29th, 2014.
Hello?
Hangout number 64, wholesale real estate training, sell a house, wholesale real estate training. Okay, sorry. We were going over last week on went through Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, which we're going to be doing Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday again this week because I'm not going to disturb you guys in your hangovers on New Year's Day. And we're going to do the same thing as last week. We're just going to call it a 4-day weekend, and we're going to start up fresh next week and pick it
Hello?
up on Monday and go back to our regular schedule of Monday,
Hello?
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So how about vocals now, John? You there?
I don't think so.
Now, are you on the new computer? Yeah, I think maybe you got a setting or something in the computer that isn't right. You don't have your speakers on or something. So,
Yep.
say good morning to John, everybody. Give him a big wave and a smile and a hi because they miss your lovely face, especially on a Monday morning. But obviously, John got himself a new computer over the weekend, which he's totally excited about. Um, I guess the new Mac, just and especially which John doesn't have an iPhone yet, but he's already gone like, oh wow, with all this thing that this thing does, syncing with an iPhone, it looks like I'm off the Galaxy and I'm onto the iPhone 6 at the next phone purchase here. So syncing Apple to Apples. Apples to apples. That's always a good thing, right? Especially when you're comping properties. And I guess apparently buying computers and phones. Apples to apples really works. So I'm going to jump back into where we left off on Friday, which I've been going through this whole, look back on 2014, and I've been breaking this whole really in-depth sort of a way to look back on things. Been breaking this down for you to be able to really get an in-depth look at 2014 and set yourself up going into 2015 to be able to look back on a much closer microscopic level opposed to right now looking back upon a whole year, being able to look back upon last week and see what's happened last week and start making the adjustments this week to correct whatever was going wrong last week instead of like we are right now looking at last year and going into 2015 saying, hey, there's a lot of stuff we need to correct. All right. And so quick review, catch everybody up. The first thing I had you do, and of course what I found from John is if you have QuickBooks program for your books, there's a very good chance you might be able to do a lot of this right out of your QuickBooks. But I'm going to run through it anyway for those of you who are a little more caveman-like, such as myself, and don't have a lot of the advanced technologies and still work, do a lot of your work on one of these, a notebook and paper. That's fine. So what I suggested we do is this. We start off with a graph, or a chart, actually, with starting back, pick a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, whatever day of the week you want your week to end on. Go back to January of 2014, get the date for the first. I'm going to just use Sunday because that's the day I like. I think Monday's the first day of the week for me. So, so I went back and I got January. The first Sunday in January was 1/7. And so from there, every Sunday, therefore, going down, I make this chart and put a dark line in between each month to designate, separate each month. Then what you went back and did is you went back and you got your incomes. And I have here your gross, I have here your after tax, and I have here your net. All right. We talked about gross and after tax may not be something that you can actually apply if you're a business owner. You might just go with the gross because maybe you don't pay your taxes. You don't have any taxes taken out. You don't know exactly what that is. You just use a bulk. So you might just go with the gross on that, the gross and the net. And then we talked about people who are employed as well too. Um, not necessarily having to do both net and after tax because they're basically just going to be on a graph. They're going to be a parallel line because your tax status is probably going to stay the same. So you can use either one of those numbers you want, the gross or the after tax. I would suggest the after tax because that's your money in your pocket. That's a little closer look at what you're actually doing. And then we talked about the net, obviously business, that's after all operating costs, et cetera, and so on. And I talked about for individuals who are employed and get a paycheck every week to actually consider your household monthly expenses, your living expenses. You got to have a roof over your head. You got to have the lights on. You got to pay the water bill. You got to pay the trash. Whatever those things are, and not really considering. I wouldn't consider, things like your phone. And you can break it up any way you want, but certain things you want to consider as pretty much kind of luxury items that you have to have. Your phone is pretty much more of a luxury item than an absolute necessity. Although maybe in today's world it is kind of a necessity, but that's more for business than it is for people that are just are employed. So I suggest that, like you say, you take a chunk out for your net so that you have a difference between your after tax and your net amount. And so then your chart's going to look something like this with all those numbers filled in. Then I told you to go ahead and graph these numbers, the two numbers, either your gross and your net or your after tax and your net. And your graph is going to look something like this because you're going to do it two ways. You're going to graph it weekly. What's the total each week, and then also a running total. Add each week together going forward. And how we did that real quickly was we put the dates across the bottom each week, a line going up, a dark line notating the break for each month. Up the side, most people I think can use these numbers right here, which are 100, 1,000, 1,500, etc. and so on. Some people who really need to do something with their lives can go with 100, 200, 300, 400. And some people who are, doing very, very well might start this off with, 1,000, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. And if you're going higher than that, you probably don't need to be here at all. But the reason why we use these numbers is because you're going to chart exactly how much money you earned each week. And in this particular case, I've got right here, we got like, $1,000, $1,500, $1,300, $1,700, something like that. And then you're going to have your net total is going to be the lower line, obviously, like this. And you're going to chart that going all the way across. And then your running total, the reason for these numbers, again, here is your running total is each one of these numbers times 10. So this is, instead of 500, it is 5,000. 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, etc. So when you start out with your running total, you can see how this line slowly moves its way up until somewhere down here it's going to total out with your yearly earnings. All right, so there's the graph. And what this graph does for you, as you can see very quickly, it can very easily show you, hey, we did good, we did good. Oh, we had a little drop off there, but we still had a really great month. Then what happened? We plummeted, and we started making a nice little comeback. But what happened during these times? It gives you a pinpointed way to look, pull out specific time periods and go, wow, what happened here? What happened here? What happened when we were doing bad? What happened when we were doing really good? It gives you the ability to pull those time frames out. Next thing that I talked to you about doing here was now creating,
you can't hear me?
breaking down your business and all of the things that have to be done in your business and your participation in those business. This is really kind of like the you thing. And what I asked you to do basically was just make a list of all the things that every task that, even if you spent 5 minutes all of last year performing this task, put it on your list. everything that you did that contributed to you earning that money last year. Make a list of it. Everything. Every last thing. Okay? So then what I ask you to do then is go back and take that list and put go right back to, or you can do this while you're coming up with the task, but consider how much time you spent, how much time you put in performing that task, whether it was one time or multiple times. What was the grand total time spent by you, not by any of your employees or anything like that, by you or colleagues or anything, by you personally? How much time did you personally spend performing that task throughout the entire year last year, and come up with a grand total for each one of these tasks? Then what I asked you to do, so now I don't even know why I have that one. So then what I told you to do is take them and put them into order by the amount of time spent, least to highest. So now you have a chart that looks something like this. Okay, you've got each task listed down the side, cleaning the bathroom, doing payroll, scheduling, all these tasks going down the side here, and then you have the amount of hours that you put into each task going down there. So that's what your thing looks like now. Then what I asked you to do was to go through and on a scale of 0 to 10, with 0 being, with 0 being can't stand doing it, and 10 being I love it, make another column and rate each one of these tasks as to how much you enjoy doing that task. You're either going to hate it or you're going to love it, or somewhere in between. So that was the second thing. Third thing was to go back and on the same scale, 0 to 10, with 0 being I suck at it and 10 being I'm the freaking best person on the planet to do this job, make another column and rate your ability to perform this task. Okay, so now you have your chart that looks like this. How much do I like performing each task, and how good am I at performing each task, right? So then I asked you to make another column, which I have here. I showed you right here. Then I asked you to make another column, leave it blank, and another column here and total it my me score, right? Your me score is the total of your ability and your enjoyment for each task. That gives you a me score. And as you'll look here, obviously on a scale of 0 to 10, 20 being the maximum, you've got an 8, you got a 17, you got a 6, a 14, and a 15. I can tell you right now, anything that is a 10 or less, is something that you are going to want to work out of your routine as quickly as possible. Anything that's 11 or higher, those fall down the list. But 10s or lesses, those are going to you're going to want to start figuring out how to get those out of your schedule as quickly as possible. So now you have a me score. You've kind of got a general idea what all these tasks are, and hey, that's what's going on here. We got some things that I should start looking at getting rid of, and some things that I don't have to worry about right now because they're pretty high on the scoring. They're more than 50% on the scoring. So the next thing I asked you to do, and that's where I left off. So now where I'm going to go with this next is we're going to make another column next to the me score, and I hope you guys can see these very good. We're going to make another column next to the me score right down here, and I want you to go back and rate each one of these tasks with its importance. Okay? What is the importance of this task to you earning that money? All right? That's the key, not to anything else. How important is each task to you actually earning that money that's on that graph that we charted earlier? And so you're going to go down the list, and I've just got some random numbers in here. I got a 6, a 9, a 2, a 3, a 10, right? So you're going to go do rate the importance of each task as it relates to you earning that money. All right. Now the next thing you do once you've rated all of your tasks is you're going to go back and make another column, and you've got these highlighted. I highlighted the me score so it stands out a little bit, and I've highlighted the next one here, which is sorry, I have to cheat and look at my own list, which is your I call it the task score. Okay, that's where you take your me score, which is these two columns here combined, and you take, that's your enjoyment and your ability, get your me score. Now the importance score is going to be totaled up over here for the total task score. And as you can see here, I'm going to show a couple little things here. You'll notice that, here we have an 8 out of 20, which is just a little under half, and that converted over to a 14 out of 30. Still a little under half, not much change there. 17 out of 20 to a 26 out of 20. Not much change there. But you get down here, and here I had a 14 out of 20, which, rated this pretty high on the me score, right? But once I add in the importance of it now it changes over to a 17 out of 30, and it really, really drops on, it's up. Yeah, my volume's up. I don't know what's going on with that.
You can't hear me?
I'm not muted. I don't know. My volume's all the way up. I don't know. Yeah, obviously there's some volume, Google volume problems this morning. So what we have here, as I was showing, like this particular task right here, you had a 14 out of 20 on your me score because, hey, well, you didn't really like it a whole lot. You didn't hate it, but you're like the best person on the planet to perform this task. It gives you a 14. But then once you really look at it, this task really isn't that important as far as you actually earning your money. So now it's only a 17 out of 30, which that really drops quite a bit. So that's what you're going to find by tagging the importance of each task and adding that to your me score as far as how good you are at it and how much you enjoy it, and now how important is it really. And now you've got some numbers here. You go through these numbers, and anything under a 15, which now you've only got one, you definitely want to get off your plate ASAP, and the 15s to the 20s are the next ones that you're really going to want to start looking at, getting those things off your plate. And see, the thing is by getting these things off your plate, what we talked about before is, I mean, for instance, look at this one right here. It's a 14. That's got to go right away. Why does it have to go? Well, you know what? I'm pretty dang good at doing this. Why does it have to go? Because it sucks. I hate it. I'm good at it, but I hate it, right? And if you've got something that you're really good at, but you can't stand doing it, that causes frustration. You spend a lot more time doing it because you put it off. And the more you put it off, the harder it gets to do. Even though you're good at it, the longer you put it off, the more it piles up. It's just something that it creates frustration. And if you can get that out of your life, you're just going to be a happier person. Even though it's something you're good at doing, so what? Get somebody else to do it, and you're going to be a happier person in earning your money, which is going to give you the ability to earn more. And the same thing goes the opposite way around. If you have something that was the opposite score there, if you had an 8 and a 0, for instance, let's look at this one down here. It's a 10 and a 4, and that, again, that's only a 17, which we said, okay, that's kind of the next thing that has to go. And you don't really like doing this. Oh wait, that's the same. I don't have one on here, but anyway, if you got something that you really suck at, but you really enjoy doing it, well, you know what the problem with that is? Even though you enjoy doing it, what happens is you probably end up spending a lot more time in that area when you shouldn't be. Okay, so the next thing we're going to have you do is earning importance. Is that what we just did? Oh, I blew it. That was supposed to be the importance of it. I was going to break that down now. See, that was the importance of it. Now I was going to have you break that down into the earning importance. In how much does it really relate? Yeah, see, I screwed that up. At the first one there, you're supposed to just be putting in, just randomly your importance. How important is this task? A lot of people will find that you might rate doing inventory as a very important task, which it is. I mean, you don't know what the heck's on the shelf. You're not going to be able to keep track of stuff. But what I want you to do, so let's see first why does it have to be each task? My mistake on how it relates to your earnings. I guess that's still good. But what I want you to do now is I want you to make another column here, which is the earning importance. And I want you to go back and look at now in relation to actually earning the money, actually while you're actually spending your time performing this task, okay? How important is this for you to be spending your time performing this task that it's going to generate income? Does that make sense? Okay. If now before it was just, how important is this task, right? Okay, so we have all these numbers of how important this task is. Now I want you to think about, okay, when I'm doing this task, when I'm putting my time into this task, how important is it for me to be doing this task in order for me to be earning money? Does that make sense? So the task itself prior, just how important is it? But now, how important is it for you to be putting your time into it? How much of your time, I'm sorry, how important is it, just what I just said, how important is it for you to be spending your time performing this task? Because the more you spend time performing this task, the more money you can earn. Does that make sense? So that's what you want to put into the earning importance right there. That's the next column, is the earning importance. How important, how much of my time should I really be spending doing this task because it's going to help me generate more money, more income? That's earning importance. How important is this task that I perform it? Okay, not that it just gets done. How important is it that I perform this task? And when I'm spending my time there, is it important for me to be spending my time there? Or should I really be spending my time somewhere else? That's where the 0 to 10 scale falls in you rating the earning importance of each one of these tasks. Now, I don't have any more cards for moving forward, so we're going to have to just work off of this one right here that I have. So the next thing, once you have your earning importance, is now from here you can start playing with this a little bit. One of the things that you could do in comparison, because if you look, my earning importance and my importance period can be quite different numbers. As you see here, I have a 6 of importance, but as far as it relates to my earning importance, suddenly all of a sudden it becomes a 1. I've got a 9 and a 10. I've got a 5 and a 5. That's pretty much exactly the same. A 3 and a 3. How did I not change? Oh well, but you get the idea. You might see with this one right here. That thing I rated that doing inventory. That's a 6 of importance, but my actually spending my time doing inventory, that's a freaking 1. I should not be doing that. You know what I mean? I should be checking the report, making sure that they balance out. I have to spend a little bit of time in the inventory area, but I shouldn't be the one out there counting the beans on the shelf. That's somebody else should be doing that job. Okay, so does that make sense now, what that is? And that shows you a lot of difference. So what you could do now is you could, if you wanted to, you could take your me score and combine it with your earnings score here, and obviously your task score would come up with a completely different
Good morning,
number, because
everybody.
you would
This
have
is John with
8 and 1 instead of 8 and 6,
Don't know
and now
why
that's
Paul
only a
doesn't
9 out of a potential
talking
30,
over Paul
so
or
that's
not,
really a
but
low score. And then you could have here, you could have this 17, and plus a 10. I mean, that stays extremely high, like you have going on here. So you could play with that. Another thing that you can do, which I'm going to suggest we do, is we just leave this alone for right now. And what we're going to do is we're going to fall back to column 5 here that we skipped. Okay, so I've got your real importance here of how much your time is valuable to each task. What I want you to do now here is go back to this column, and this is right next to where we rated your ability in performing this task, right? How good are you at doing this task? Now, This is just your opinion. This is you thinking to yourself, how good am I at performing this task, right? What I want you to do now is I want you to go back and rethink about this, and we're going to call this, we're going to call this column right here, me versus a pro. So I want you to go back and I want you to think about this right here, that you rated yourself an 8. I'm pretty dang good at this task right here, right? I want you to now think about, all right, if I went out and I hired a professional, somebody who actually does get paid to do this task on a daily basis. If I go out and I hire a professional and I bring that person in here to do this task in my place, how do I rate? How does my performance? How good am I at performing this task compared to this person? Right? So now this 8, I might look at that and go, well, I think I'm pretty good at that, but God, if I brought a professional in here, they'd probably do, this, and this 3 times better than me. So in reality, maybe I'm only a 6 instead of an 8. So this might change down to a 6, and you might look at this 10 right here and go, hey, you know what? You could bring a professional in here all day long and I can go toe to toe with that guy and I'm still a 10 at this. And you might look at this thing down here and you might have rated yourself as a 3, and you might say, well, if I brought a professional in here, quite honestly, I'm more like a 1. You know what I mean? So this is going to give you a little bit more differentiation on, like I said, we're honing these tasks down to really, the object here of what we're trying to do is we're trying to coordinate these tasks into a specific order of elimination, because we want you to start getting the worst things out of your life and off your plate ASAP. Day 1, January 1st, Friday of this week, you should be able to look at this list and go, that right there, I'm not ever doing it again. Somebody else, I'm figuring out right now how somebody else can do that task for me. And that's the whole objective. And then being able to just, systematically, one by one, remove the worst things off your plate. And by doing so, being able to look back on your original chart, or actually you can look at this chart right here and seeing how much time you've put into each one of these tasks last year and realizing, wow, you know what? I only spent 3 hours all of last year doing that, but that's 3 hours right now that I have this year that I can devote to something that's going to help me earn more money. And then maybe you can look at one of these tasks that gets eliminated early on and say, man, I spent 200 hours last year of my time performing that task that I hated doing, although I'm fairly decent at, but it's really totally unimportant to me making money, and I wasted 200 hours of my time performing that task last year. That's it. I'm finding somebody else to do that, figuring out another way that that can get done. I'm automating that. I'm getting a VA to do that. Whatever the system is, however it is that you get that task off of your plate, now you have 200 hours this year that you can turn around and look at this list and go, there's some place that I need to, bolster. This, I noticed every time that we were in a slump last year and I wasn't making as much money, this seemed to keep happening. Okay, I'm going to take that 200 hours, I'm going to apply it to that, and I'm going to make that better. So that's what this is all about, being able to eliminate and generate more of your own time that you can refocus upon things that you can, have come to light that you're saying, man, that needs help, and giving you the ability to do that. So with that, I'm going to stop right there because I need to make more flashcards to continue forward on this, and my time is up anyway. So with that, I want to welcome John here for a Monday. Haven't seen him since before Christmas, and hope you enjoyed the show, John. I wish you actually had a minute here to put your 2 cents worth in, but I know you'll get that volume thing figured out before tomorrow morning, and we'll have you live and vocal for tomorrow's hangout, which again, as I mentioned, we're doing today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. No disturbing of your hangover on Thursday, and we're just going to take it into another 4-day weekend and pick this back up on Monday of next week, where we're going to go back to our regular schedule of Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. All right? And with that, I'm out of here, guys, with the Napoleon Hill prayer, which goes, "Oh, universe, I ask not for more riches, but for more wisdom with which to make better use of the riches given to me at birth, consisting of the power to control and direct my own mind to whatever end I might desire, which is figuring out what my problems are and applying more of my time to the areas that need help and making more money next year. All right, guys.